Good afternoon and welcome to Rural Route 2. Today we are going to be canning some tomatoes. So the first step in the process here is to boil these tomatoes here in this big pot. I just do it on the stove top. And once they are soft enough and they start to there'll be like a crack here in the skin. Once you start to see that, usually after it's been boiling for a minute or two, you start to see that on some tomatoes. That is my signal to remove them from the stove top here and set them into a bowl where then I take them over to be milled in the tomato mill. So I will show you that step of the process when we get there. I just use a big spoon with holes in it to remove them from this pot because the water is quite hot and I don't want to touch it or get burnt. This is just the way I've been doing tomatoes for probably 5 or 6 years now, and it's just a very simple recipe. It's not a sauce, but it's just crushed tomatoes, which can then be turned into a sauce, a pasta sauce, or you can pour them over meatballs, that kind of thing, or even it's almost like crushed tomatoes. You can boil chicken in that. There's all kinds of things that you can do. So welcome along, and I hope you enjoy the process. So I'm just going to zoom in here. You can see that the skin has started to peel back on that tomato there. The water is starting to boil, so they're getting soft. I'll sometimes feel them. That one feels pretty hard yet, so just a little bit longer. And then I'll begin to scoop them out. These were all picked from my garden, and I have more than this here that I'll be doing the sauce with, but what I find works best is that I pick the tomatoes as they ripen, and then I do need to freeze some of them because some of them are definitely more ripe than others and I don't want them to go bad. So I put them in a Ziploc bag and throw them in the freezer until I have what I feel is a big enough batch to do some canning. I was going to mention as well that I do have a variety of tomatoes in here. So I have these Roma tomatoes. I have San Marzanos here. I have Big Beef tomatoes. And I do have some Lemon Boy tomatoes. I'll get myself a big spoon and show you that. There, so I found one of my yellow tomatoes. So I've never used a yellow tomato before while making crushed tomatoes and canning them. It's always something new to try. You'll notice that I don't core them, and I don't take out any of the dark parts or anything like that. When I put them through the mill, all of that will be removed as well as the seeds, but I do remove the stem. I don't put it in the water with the stem on.
Just scoop them, Joseph.
Okay, so here we are.
Just put them in, Joseph. Yeah.
Putting the tomatoes in the tomato mill. I have my 8-year-old son helping with this, and he's just using a spoon that has some holes in it so he doesn't scoop up all of the water.
Ooh, that's a big one.
As well. And then his older sister, she's 9, she's going to crank them. So I'll show you what this looks like once they get that all in. So now we have the hopper full of tomatoes, and you can see the juice is already starting to pour down. So go ahead, honey, and give that a crank.
I'm gonna look.
We've got lots lots of helpers here.
When is their body?
So we have a couple of bowls that we need to switch out as
Oh,
we get
mommy,
going.
look, it's kind of leaking.
Is it leaking? We might have to adjust the side there.
Yeah.
Okay, so we disassembled our mill and we've reassembled it. I think that the seal was in backwards and that's why we were having a lot of leaking. So hopefully this time we will have better luck because it was quite messy, as you can see, the floor. Okay, go ahead, honey. Go the other way. Nope, go the other way.
There you
And
go.
see if we
That
have
one got on.
better luck.
Can you get it? I got it.
There she goes. That is much better. So, I guess what we've learned here is to make sure that the seal goes in the right way so you don't have a mess all over your table and the floor. Good job, girls. Keep going. Okay, so I've got my pot of tomato sauce on the stove, and that is roughly how deep it is on this spoon. So normally what I like to do is boil this down until it is half of what it was. And you see, there are no seeds in here. It is nice, fairly thick, and I think it's thicker than normal because of the aromas and the San Marzanos that I used this year. So, it may not even need to boil down halfway. But I will show you what it looks like when I'm done. So, one look again. That's where it's sitting. Oh, the kids are having fun in the other room. Okay, so here we are. This pot has been on the stove top here for a good 5 hours or so. It is now late at night, and this is why you should probably start this in the morning, and you won't have to be up so late. It is 20 after 11 and I still have to process this in a water bath. So anyway, I just have this spoon out here. You can see it's much thicker from before, and you can see that original line there on this spoon, so it has boiled off quite a bit of the water. I would usually wait a little bit longer. However, I am getting tired and I'm ready to go to bed. So I think this is just gonna do. I can use the ladle here too to show you the consistency. So it's a little bit on the watery side. When I go to use this in my sauce, my pasta sauces, I might just need to add a little bit of tomato paste to thicken it up. That's okay. So I have my jar. This is a Classico brand pasta sauce jar. It works well with the lids that you seal on, and the I'll just show you a picture here. This is what I have this time. It's in French. One-time use only, and then you screw it on tight with this here, which helps it to seal. So I've got my wide mouth funnel, and I use my ladle, and I just scoop it in. little more of the meatier sauce on the bottom, so I just make sure I take a good scoop from the bottom. Now when I get close to the top, I don't want to fill it all the way up. I want to give a little bit of space there, just like that. Hi, so I realized when I was editing this video that I kind of missed some steps that I thought would have been helpful for people to see if it was their first time canning. And so I have my sauce in the jar here, which I have just ladled in. So I always give the rim a wipe. I usually just use a reusable cloth. You could use a paper towel, but I try to minimize as much of one-time use items as possible. And then I just grab with my magnetic tool here this lid, which is sanitized. It was in boiling water for about 10 minutes or so. So I set that on and I grab my ring, just a regular standard size ring. And I screw that on hand tight. The jar is hot, so just be careful with that. This is my pot where I have 6 other jars ready to go. They're sitting in boiling water. So I'm just going to grab this by the lid because it's hot, and I'm going to set that in there. Grab myself the other oven mitt here to lower these in. So I've got my oven mitts on because I do not want to get burnt. And then I just lower all of those jars right into that boiling water. I'll bring this up top for you to see. And I cover that and let that go for about 35 minutes. Once the 35 minutes is reached, I will pull the jars out using an appropriate tool, such as this one. In another one of my videos, I'm actually using this black part to pull the jars, and that's not how you do it. You hold on to the black part with your hands, and you scoop the jars out like this. It makes it much easier. You can even do it one-handed. So that is what I have there. Here we are. The timer has gone off. We have our jars sitting in here, and I just dip this in here like that, and then I just dry off the bottom just a little bit. Bring it over here and set it on a tea towel. Just like that. So that's the first one. There's the second one. Looks lovely. There, I'll pull out the rest. I just pulled these 6 jars out of the water bath. They were in a water bath of boiling water for approximately 40 minutes. And that is just a part of the recipe. It helps to ensure that the contents inside the jars is safe. You can see this is a very old jar. It's been used again and again over the years. I like that idea of reusing things. And I just use this tool here to pull them out of the hot water. So I ended up with this small one here because I didn't have a larger sized one clean and ready to go. I also have another jar that is about half full. So if I had done things correctly, what I should have done was fill the other jar first and then fill this one up. And the other one didn't make it into the water bath. It is just being placed in the fridge and we will use it in the next couple of days. So that is my sauce. It's going to be delicious. And this is just the beginning from the tomatoes in the garden. And this is something that I will likely be doing all season long. And I'm curious to see how many jars I end up with. I'm hoping my tomato crop continues to be good. So far, so good, but you just never know with the garden. I've been hearing the sound of these lids popping. I was hoping that maybe you could hear it as well, but I might just end up missing it. So all of that took a while. It was very late, and I'm ready for bed. So I hope you're doing well, and take care. Bye-bye.